Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Keith Andrew Network. I'm here with Reverend William. I just want to say thank you for being my guest on my show. Looking forward to building a friendship with you as well. And this is episode 283. The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still overcome controversy and reach my goals in life. At the same time, I'm able to turn myself into a perfect example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities, but you should never give up and you should prove to people you can still amount to something. With that being said, you have about 45 minutes of your time. Say anything you want to talk about, whatever you want, this is your time. Supporting a good cause, making a new friend out of it, and starting off, what can you tell us about yourself?
Well, I'm Pastor William Barhorst. Long story short, I'm disabled myself. I was first injured myself when I was in the Navy. Fell through a hatch, was blown off my ship to San Diego Naval Hospital in Balboa, and I injured my back. And when I was being discharged, they told me I'm going to get disability. For over 40 years, they couldn't find my medical records. They told me you got burned in a fire in St. Louis. That's impossible because the fire in St. Louis happened 10 years before I was even in the service. But only our government could get away with lies like this. I told them, I said, well, if you can't find my records, at least try and find the logbook in the hospital, because back then everything was done in books. And I said, look in the logbook where I was at least admitted in there and find out why I was there, why I was treated. They kept ignoring me. Well, not just 3 months ago. I was at the VA hospital here in Philadelphia getting treated. I'm fighting cancer too, by the way. I wound up having a car accident years later also and did some more spine damage. I was paralyzed my neck down for 2.5 years, lost total memory for 18 months. I eventually wound up homeless for 10 years. Nobody knew I was homeless. I wouldn't let them know. That's my pride. But while I was homeless, I started up charities and started helping homeless people, hungry people, and everything else. And that's been my goal, to end hunger and homelessness in this country. And primarily with homeless veterans. We got 800,000 homeless vets in this country. And that's a disgrace. And I help homeless veterans. I've got homes that I put people in. I help homeless veterans and fire victims and everything else. But we need a lot of support. And because I am a pastor, people make a love gift to me or to my church ministry. It's all tax deductible. IRS gives churches and ministers automatic tax exemption without even have to file. But if you don't file, then you're subject to all their laws and everything else, which is, again, it's separation of church and state, and it's freedom of religion. It's none of their business. If I need to help you with something, it's between you, me, and God, not you, me, and the IRS.
Right.
And a lot of people don't even know about things about the IRS. When our government is so corrupt, it's disgusting. I did not join the military to have a corrupt government the way it is. And, to show you how corrupt it is, look at the 2 idiots we got running for president right now. Those are the best that we can do. One guy that's almost like, a whoremonger since he was young. And the other ones, they've done everything from murdering people, doing drugs, and her husband has more sexual stuff, and he lied. Oh, I did not have sexual relations with that woman, And that cost our taxpayers $40 million for his defense, And both of them should be in jail. And if you go to Infowars.com, Mr. Jones, Alex Jones, has a bunch of videos up there, and people submit videos of the proofs of all of this stuff. And, a lot of people, if you study your Bible, it tells you about how the world was created, why it was created, and what we're supposed to be doing. And one of the things is how I live my life. In Matthew 25, it says, whatsoever you do unto the least of these, my brethren, you do unto me. And that's what I live by. I strive to be as Christ-like as I possibly can. Because when you help a hungry person, you help a homeless person, no matter what you help a person with, you're doing it as though you're doing it to Christ himself. So if Christ came to you and say, I need food, are you going to say, oh, wait, I'll get it tomorrow? Are you going to give them, you know, some fried rice when you got steak and filet mignon in here? No, you're going to give them the best, right? Well, that's what you should do. And give to them first before you give to yourself.
No,
You know?
absolutely. And I don't want people to think this is a whole religious interview. You know, I'm Jewish, and, you know, the bottom line is, you know, I celebrate the holidays out of respect for my parents, number one. And I do believe in God. It doesn't matter, you know, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Indian, it's the same God, number two. And I don't label myself as Jewish. I just say, okay, yes, I'm Jewish, and I believe in God, but I don't go and, you know what I'm trying to say. I don't parade around with it and instigate.
Right, right. Well, see, as a pastor, I have to. You know, that is my job. I have to do what he says, and that's to go about the world and preach, you know, his gospel and salvation and all of that. That's what we have to teach. And once we accept ordination, we are judged on a higher authority than the average layperson. So I have to know what I'm saying, because if I'm wrong about something, I am going to be judged for it. Because I'm the teacher. So, you know, being a teacher, it takes a very, very big responsibility. And at first, I did not want ordination. You know, and the reason why it was offered to me is because I was running charities and I was having difficulties. And the people that knew me, the pastors that knew me, and the different churches said, you know, why don't you become ordained? We can do it. Why don't you become ordained? Because now you have freedom of religion. Now they can't block you from opening up a shelter or opening up a soup kitchen or whatever, because they don't want, you know, not my backyard syndrome. You can do it anywhere you want, but you can't do it in my town or in front of my house or next door, you know. Well, where else are we going to do it? Because nobody wants it there, you know? But if it was your kids or your family member that I was helping, you'd want it, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the point. That's the point. And, you know, I've been doing this stuff, like I said, since 1991. Hell, you know, I've been helping people all my life, but with charitable status since 1991. First, it was a charity called Friends of the Homeless. Then it was Friends Who Care. Now it's been Baskets of Faith since 1997. And like I said, I mean, I can give people links to make donations. They can call my cell phone, and I can give them the information. They can go to my Facebook page, and it's very easy to find me. All you got to do is search for Pastor William Barhorst in Google or in Bing or anywhere, and you'll see me. Okay? Send me friend requests, send me text, call my cell phone. That's what it's there for. And then other topics, I mean, that I'd like to discuss. You know, there's a lot of people don't know it, and some people know it. Magic Johnson should be dead by all rights because he had full-blown AIDS. He was cured because he went to Germany and France. He had to go out of the country to get cured. They let him back in only with under one with one permission. You cannot tell people how you were cured. You have to keep telling them that you still got it, you know, or you're still fighting it or whatever. Right? That's the only reason why he's allowed back in this country to do that, you know? But that's a shame. We got to go out of the country. What about people that can't afford it? You know, well, I have pictures of a machine I'm trying to buy. It's normally a $6,000 machine, but a woman bought 3 of them to cure everybody in her family from the various diseases they were all being plagued with. So she's allowing me to get one for $1,500. All right? If I don't know, a lot of the listeners, I mean, you probably have a large age group, but if you're about my age, you may remember a commercial on television for Memorex cassette tapes. It had Ella Fitzgerald saying, "Is it live or is it Memorex?" They recorded her voice and busted a wine glass with the sound waves from her voice. Well, there's one doctor, his name was Royal Wright, looked into saying, well, if you can bust a solid glass with sound waves, why can't you take them sound waves, tune them to a specific frequency, and bust a cancer cell, or a polio cell, or the cell for a common cold, or for lupus, or any of the other thousands of diseases that we're plagued with? Well, he did that. And the machine is called a Royal Wright beam. It's a beam ray. And it's not a beam like a laser, Star Trek, or whatever. No. It's just sound beams that emanate through your body, and it only attacks the specific cell that the frequency is set for. So we'd have to know exactly what kind of cancer it is and all of that, or what kind of disease it is. And it's curable. It even rebuilds DNA. This doctor built a microscope that I know where it's at, because our government went in and took everything that they could find when he died in 91. Because they don't want the people know, because the pharmaceutical industry would be out of business virtually, just for cancer cures, or treatment, I should say, with radiation and chemo. They make $250 billion a year. Number one, if they said Pastor Barhorst can cure you, well, there's $250 right out the bat. Number one, I would never charge anybody for it. It's free. You want to make a donation if you can afford it. Okay? No, health care should not be charged for, because God gave us everything that we need. Even water can give us energy. You can get fuel out of water. 6th grade education, we were taught water has what? The chemical properties, H2O. 1 part oxygen, 2 parts hydrogen. Take hydrogen out of water. It's highly flammable. I've done it. I can do it. I can teach everybody how to do it. But the powers that be, they want the pharmaceutical industry to make money, and they want the fossil fuel companies to make money. A lot of people have heard rumors, but they're not rumors. It's factual. The Bush family is connected with the Bin Laden family with the oil. Right? The pharmaceutical industry makes money by keeping us sick.
No, absolutely. Oh, go ahead. I just want to point out one thing. Your computer screen's frozen.
My screen is frozen?
Yeah, like it's moving slow.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's because I don't have a lot of memory in this laptop. There's only, I think it's 500 megabytes of RAM in this, I think. That's it. And I got to raise money to get, and I had to get this one. A friend of mine let me buy it from him for $50 because mine crashed. We had a computer outage, and I wasn't home. And every time the power kept coming back on and going off, the computer would crash and come on before it was able to reboot, and I lost the whole hard drive. Almost my entire life was on that. All the links that I had, now I got to do research again and find everything again. And all my documents, everything was on that computer. So, but like I said, I mean, my van, I have a video on YouTube. I challenge people. For over a year it's been up. I got a van out there that, my van, it's my church missions van, it gets 300 miles a gallon. It runs on vapor. And I challenge anybody, you come here and prove that it does not work, I'll pay you $1,000. Nobody's challenged me yet. Say the fuel companies, our government wants the fuel companies to make money. Now another guy, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, his name is Nikola Tesla. Okay?
Yeah, I heard about.
All right, well, Nikola Tesla has had more patents on more things than things that we're using today. He did it over 100 years ago. These brand new light bulbs that we have, that kind of you screw in and LEDs and all, he invented that 100 years ago. Well, why weren't we using that during the 20s and 30s and 40s, 50s and 60s, 70s and 80s? Why? We had the technology. You know why? Because the government wants these energy companies to make money. They only make money if they can bill you for the kilowatts that you use. Well, this guy also, he was being backed by J.P. Morgan at one time. Okay? I'm sure everybody knows who J.P. Morgan was. All right? Also a Mason. And you'll learn a lot about what the Freemasons are and what they're about, too. They're basically ushering in, this new world order and giving the power to the Antichrist and then giving it ultimately to Satan. It's all biblical. It's all biblical. Okay? Even the founding of our nation and all of that, and what the white man did to the American Indian is a disgrace. Dances with Wolves, the movie that Kevin Costner starred in, just touched on the subject. There's so much corruption in our government. Even when I was in the Navy, I witnessed it. I did submarine rescue and salvage. We would pull in ships that were disabled. As we're bringing them in, they're taking all the good food that was on that ship, saying the ship had a complement, a crew of 3,000 or 6,000 or 9,000 men. They would start cutting the cans, all the good food, and throwing it overboard. Instead of bringing it back to the base, giving it to the base kitchen that's got to now order more food to cook and feed these guys. It's to build the military budget. So they have a lot of money to do things. That's why we have the $900 hammers and the $900 ashtrays. It's the same 5-cent ashtray or hammer that you can buy at Kmart or Walmart. But it's just so they can have money. Yes, we need a strong military, but don't lie to us. If you have a good budget this year and you don't spend as much, well, save the taxpayers some money. And if you really want to do the job, like you want to run a charity, run your charity, don't take a salary. What do you need a salary for? Not for doing a charity. You do a charity because you want to do it because it's a good thing to do. Not for $1 million paycheck a year like the Red Cross, Salvation Army, United Way, and all of these other ones get, plus the perks that they get. The president of the Red Cross right now, believe it or not, makes $1 million a year just for being president of the Red Cross. Plus, she's making $3 million for the other businesses and things that she does. She makes $4 million a year.
Well, I do want to ask you about, you mentioned the homeless people. That's number one. And what I do want to ask you is, where do you stand on having all those refugees come in? Now, I'm saying if they're normal, hard-working people and they want to live the American dream, that's fine. However, they should be on a list of being on a background check, making sure they're not terrorists, making sure they're not, criminals and convicts. But at the same time, you're having all these homeless veterans and homeless people. Why does the refugees take a priority over the homeless? How aren't you supposed to help the homeless first and take care of yourself? And once your country is under control, it's like, okay, there's no unemployment, there's no homeless. Okay, now we can start helping people. But instead, you're saying, oh, come on in, and here's the refugees, have some jobs. And you're telling, oh, the people who were here before, basically, you're being pushed back to the line.
Yeah, well, I mean, me personally, I am Irish, Dutch, German, Scotch, and half Sicilian. So that tells you what I am, and I'm a direct result of the Korean War, because my dad was in the Navy when he married my mom. Now, about closed borders. Well, if the American Indians closed the borders of the U.S., none of us would be here.
Right.
I have a lot of relatives also. My brother's wife, she was from Peru. Hard-working girl, man, I'm telling you. And all her relatives, all hard workers. You want to come to America? The land of the home, the free, the brave, great opportunities. Well, that's how it was in the 50s and 60s and 70s. But right now, I mean, our dollar is so devalued, it's crazy. And we're probably one of the poorest nations around right now because our government taxes the daylights out of us. And it's wrong. But people want to come to this country. Let them come to the country. Do it the right way. You're a refugee. Well, first off, you got to prove you're a refugee. And number one, this bringing people in for illegal voting so that, well, I'm going to bring you into the United States and I'm going to bring you in as a refugee or whatever. Now you got to vote for me and all of that. Well, I'll tell you what. Here's how you stop that. You cannot vote for 4 years. You can't vote for 4 years when you become an American like that. Okay? So now that'll stop that immediately. All right? You want to come to this country? Join the military too. Prove that you want to defend the Constitution and our freedoms. That's what should be done. Now you don't need a draft. You don't need none of that. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree with you. But, what I was saying and what I was asking is why should we help all those refugees and say, come on in, when we have a homeless problem and we have a housing problem?
Exactly. I mean, right now, I think before we do any of that, let's stop the homeless especially our homeless veterans. We got 800,000 homeless vets in this country. And people say, oh, well, they're homeless because they want to be. No. The only reason why they might want to be is because they're tired of fighting the system. They're tired of fighting. They deserve it. I'm not saying free, but get them in a shelter. We need shelters. Every city should have at least one shelter. Stop this not my backyard system. I don't care if it's the richest city in the world or in the country. You need at least one shelter in every city. That'll help stop it, number one. And you need different kinds of shelters. You need shelters for men. You need shelters for women. You need shelters for families. Not this thing where you got to break up a family to take the woman and the kids, and then daddy's got to go somewhere else. That's a bunch of garbage. I've seen families busted up because of that, and that's wrong. Then you need shelters for drug addicts. You need shelters for alcoholics, people with substance abuse. And they got to get treated and treated right, but not with all of this funding garbage that's going on and the corruption in these charities. It's wrong. You know, don't carry a flag that you're either a Christian organization or a charitable organization and you're not doing the right thing. And you're stealing and selling money and putting your money in your own pocket. It's wrong. Look at the Clintons, what that's going over in Haiti right now. They raised billions. And those Haitian people over there from the hurricanes and all, they were devastated. Devastated. There's videos out there right now that's on Infowars.com. Of this one millionaire, he's over there, and he's challenging Hillary Clinton. You know, well, they even told him, he said, we don't even want your money no more because you're so corrupt. You took all of these donations that the Americans faithfully gave to you to help these Haitians, and you're not getting nothing from you. And you're saying you're on the top good list of all of these checklists in the organizations? Yeah, because you're Secretary of State and everything else, and they fear you because you've already murdered 47 people. And it's wrong. Both of them should be in prison.
Well, Trump really didn't do anything. You know, yesterday I sent a tweet on Twitter to Bill O'Reilly. I said Trump may be an asshole, he may be a blowhard, he may say stupid things, but at least he's, as far as we know of, he's not a murderer.
Right.
But then you have Clinton on the other hand, and then, you know, a lot of people out there are tired of hearing it. A lot of people are saying, why didn't Trump bury her with it? But you have Benghazi, and it's kind of like, you know, that should have been the nail in the coffin right there. That you killed someone, and you're so corrupt, you should be in jail, not running for president. Trump didn't do anything, as we know of. But maybe something will come out eventually. But, like you said, there's 3,000 people, and we have these two schmucks.
That's right. That's right. And, you know, I don't like the two-party system. Every person that's running for president should have equal time. But because the media is, the media right now, all they want Clinton in. ABC, CBS, all the major networks are pulling for Hillary Clinton. If Hillary Clinton gets in to be president of the United States, forget it. We're done. Because she has her own private agenda. To clear her husband's name, he won't go to jail for all the sex crimes and everything that he did and all that. I mean, Monica Lewinsky and all the Jennifer Flowers and all of them. I mean, he violated them women. If it was you or me, we'd be in jail already and the key would be gone.
Well, two things. How is that any different from what Trump's doing, number one? And she even said when she was running, we want 4 more years of President Obama. And it's like 4 more years of this? And
right.
It's like we're already in the shitter. Why add more gasoline to it?
Right. You know, when Trump said that stuff, it was what, 10 years ago,
yeah.
All right? And he was not at a political office, okay? This man was president of the United States and did it in the Oval Office.
Yep.
Okay? He may have whispered in her ear, hey, I'm breaking up with Hillary. I'm going to make you my wife. You know? Just a college girl, an intern. You know, what would you think? You know, most girls would say, yeah, okay, brother. You know, I'm with you, you know? You know, because she doesn't have the education, you know, and all of that. You know, maybe she feared him too. You know, he's president of the United States. He got me a job. I'm doing an intern. And, you know, maybe I'll have a great job now, you know, and all of that, you know. That's just the way the world is. But, you know, it's wrong for him to have done that. And then it's wrong for Hillary to have backed him and protected him like that for her political gain. I understand, yes, the Bible says when you're married, be married indefinitely and work at it if I'm making a success. But not a success for the corruption. He was giving people drugs when he was in Arkansas as governor. And then he brought his drug trade to the White House. Okay? That's crazy. That's how he got a lot of these girls. You know, give them some drugs and they put out for you, you know? And then if you say no later, well, then I'm sorry. Then Hillary comes after you with the IRS, investigating them and everything else, and blocking their checking accounts, and they can't even get a home no more. I mean, this is what happens to them. That's how powerful that woman is. And it's wrong. It's wrong. And, you know, like I said, even with the pharmaceutical industry and the fossil fuel oil companies that the Bushes are connected to with Bin Laden, it's proven, it's documented. You know, they're in bed with all these people, you know, with the politics. Stop the donating to your campaigns. They should not have to pay to get their word out, okay? It should be freedom of the press. Every person that's running for a political office, from council to president of the United States, should get equal airtime no matter what party you're in. Now, if that is how you did your media, number one, the truth would come out. Number two, you would be able to pick the person that you want, and it don't have to be a two-party system no more.
No, I agree with you. And actually, while on the subject, I don't know how much of this, if you know or not, but in my town, we're having a big problem with all the Hasidics. And not saying I met a lot of nice Hasidics for really nice, hardworking people. But the problem is there's other ones, and they're so obsessed with buying off the politicians, and they basically want to have manifest mass destiny. They want to force everyone out. They're continuously building, even when there's protesters and the government says, okay, you need to stop doing that. And it's like, just look up, you know, Hasidics in Rockland and Orange County, and you see people are pissed because they want to take over. So what is, as being a religious person yourself, what is your opinion about that? Do you think that they're just instigating, or do you think it's just all bullshit that's just made up, that they just want to cause problems?
I'm not getting exactly what you're trying to ask me.
Do you think one religious group should have complete control? Like saying, oh, this should be an old Jewish area, this should be an old Christian area. Do you think that if one religious group pays off a government, they have the right to do whatever they want, basically?
Well, you get into our major reason why we broke away from Mother England. The first and foremost was freedom of religion. Okay? If you started up a religion tomorrow saying you can't get to your God unless you wear a blue sock on Wednesday and a yellow sock on Thursday, and every day of the week you had to wear a black one on your left foot and a white one on your right foot, well, if that's your faith and you got your followers, that's your freedom of religion. The IRS, number one, can't tell you you're not a church or a religion. Can't. Who are they to judge that? Number one. So, this country was founded on Christian beliefs. One nation under God. Now, because of these other religions coming in and not liking it, and it started with Mary Madeline O'Hare. A lot of people might not know who she is, but she is the one who snuck around and got this law passed to take a prayer out of school. Okay? That happened in the 60s, the 70s rather. Her one son wound up becoming a born-again Christian. Okay? Long story short, Since we took prayer out of school, number one, kids don't hear about God no more unless their families are devout and bring them to church. You lose respect. When I was a kid, if I did something wrong, either in school or on the street, if the neighbor seen me do it, the neighbor was allowed to spank me and then take me home, and then I'd get hit again. Okay? Today, you can't even look at a child cross because you get shot. You know? It's wrong.
That's right.
It's wrong. And you spank your own child? Forget it. Forget it. Child services is going to get involved and take your kid away. You know why? Because every kid that they put in foster care, they get a $1,000 check bonus. That's wrong. Whenever you put money as an incentive, corruption's going to follow it. If we would have a better judicial system if our juries and judges could not fine people. We're not supposed to have a debtor's prison, okay? If you owe your landlord money, he takes you to court. Yeah, if you don't have any money, well, he can't get blood out of a stone. They can't put you in prison. But owe a court money for going through a red light. And you move and you forget about the ticket. They'll lock you up, impound your car, fine your car, and everything else. And if you don't have the money, they throw you in jail. That's wrong. Everything else is a statute of limitations. With motor vehicle and all of that other garbage, judicial systems and court fines, there's no statute of limitations. That sticks with you forever. That's wrong.
No, I agree with you. And I am for disciplining the kid. And I mentioned that a couple times when I was in retail, talking to customers. If your kid's out of control, if your kid's disrespectful, discipline them. I'm not saying beat them to a bloody pulp. I'm not saying, backhand them or spank them or do whatever you need to and teach them respect.
Right. I mean, I was just watching some old Little Rascals videos on YouTube, and Chubbsy was talking to his teacher and told his teacher that, what happened? Your daddy gave you a good tanning? He said, yeah, he took out the razor strap and spanked my bottom, That's what people did back then. I mean, I'm not saying, hit your kids with an object. I smacked my daughter once, okay? I smacked my one daughter once, like that in her face. But it was the shock factor, because she knew I never hit my kids, It was the shock factor that she did something wrong, okay? It wasn't the pain of the smack or nothing, because it wasn't hard, all right? But it's the way you discipline your kids, and without discipline, even the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child, okay? And it doesn't mean that you beat your kid with a stick either. It means the rod, the staff of righteousness, okay? That's what it means. You spank your kid with your hand, all right? You don't use an object, number one, all right? And because we're not allowed to do that to our own kids today, that's why our kids are only going to listen to our parents no more. I don't have to listen to you. Well, you live under my roof, and as long as you are my child, I am your elder, you respect that. That's what the Bible says. And all of the cultures that are beating us right now, China, Japan, what's their first and foremost? Respect your elders. Why? Because your elders are the ones that have the knowledge. I always learned from people that were older than me. You ain't going to learn from people normally younger than you, unless they have a particular field or whatever, And one of my favorite sayings is, the more that I learn, the more I find out I do not know. Because every time you open up a book in a different area, that's a whole nother area of knowledge I've never looked into or somebody's never looked into, And that's why I have such a vast knowledge, But knowledge is no good unless you share it. What good is it being bottled up? And that's why I know that the Bible even tells us, before he comes back and judges the world, we're going to be flooded with a knowledge. And he knew because the internet was going to be up and we could share knowledge. But now our government wants to stop it. They take down videos. YouTube takes down videos. If I put up a video and it says certain things, the government may even come after and kill me. It's been done. And it's wrong. It's wrong. What's freedom of press, freedom of religion, and all of it? Our freedoms. I fought in this military for our freedoms. And so did every veteran that's out there, and the ones that died, and the ones that are still prisoners of war and MIAs. We should not have one person in anybody's custody right now. but our government uses them as bargaining chips. That's wrong. We should be there taking them all back.
All right, well, on that subject, I just want to say, thank you for your service. My grandfather served in World War II. But I did want to ask you, with all this conspiracy with everything, I'm going to ask you two hard-hitting questions, and I'm going to pass it over to you, wrapping up, and then you can ask me anything you want. Well, number one, what is your opinion about Area 51? And number two, do you think 9/11 was an inside job?
Definitely. Definitely. It's proven. They use this chemical that burns metal. Number one, I worked with JP5. All right? JP5 is the fuel that the jets use. Okay? That will not burn steel. Will not burn steel. It's impossible. It will not reach the flash point to burn steel. It's impossible. All right? There is Jed Bush was head of the security in the Twin Towers during this time. The week before, they were doing all kinds of tests and shutting off electricity and doing all kinds of stuff. That's when they implanted the bombs and cut the beams with these special saws and whatever, and put these chemicals in there, these explosive devices that our government has, and these companies have, and there's videos out there that show exactly how they do it. Every one of them buildings imploded. They didn't explode, they imploded. Okay? If it was done with the way they're saying it was done, with a plane exploding and everything, how did Building 7 come down, number one? It wasn't even touched with fuel. How did that building come down?
Yeah, they said they could have fixed it or just knock it down, and they just said, and just knock it down. It's like, why? There's absolutely no reason to do that.
The lives that were lost, okay, that was done so that we could start a war. A war that the Illuminati and everybody else wanted, okay, the powers that be. And they set it up. They set all of this up. They even set Christopher Columbus to come here to discover America. We found it wasn't him that discovered. The Vikings were here 500 years before that. And the Indians were here before that, But, it's all corrupt. It's all corrupt.